r/NoSleep. Posted by u/Majestic. Activity 6. I built a machine of war and now its bloodlust is unstoppable. War never changes. War remains constant and unchanging, regardless of circumstances, motives, or the extent of its devastation and casualties. The desire for the demise of others persists among individuals, and the only solution is the complete annihilation of all living beings. This project began with the intention of creating a powerful weapon to defeat the fast-approaching enemy. It was designed to be the most advanced machine of war, and losing was not an acceptable outcome. Desperation was setting in as we sought a quick resolution to the impending conflict. I was considered the most talented inventor in our government up to this point, and it was inevitable that they would eventually try to control me. This error would have negative consequences for the entire world. Our government generously provided us with ample funding to finish this project, but as I stepped into the laboratory that would be my home for the next few years, it was clear that some shortcuts had been taken. This project was located in a subterranean building, accessible only through a discrete set of elevators located far from civilization. In case of elevator failure, there is an emergency ladder within the building's depths. In case of a dire emergency, we could either leave the building or seek refuge in the emergency shelter until the threat was erased. Currently, I am seeking refuge in this emergency shelter, unsure of whether I will be saved or meet my demise. While I wait, I will share with you the tale of how I birthed forth a horrifying monster. The government's objective was to develop an innovative weapon unlike any other seen before, a special machine powered not by traditional sources of energy but by something essential to organic beings, blood. Blood served as the source of power for the machine, which was programmed to eliminate all adversaries and retrieve blood to continue its mission. However, in exchange for its advanced fuel system, we had to strip away protective armor from its chassis, leaving it lightweight and vulnerable to destruction. In the heat of battle, the machine known as Version 1 was armed with a self-learning program that utilized machine learning to adapt and use any weapon available on the battlefield, while also avoiding different types of various projectiles. Finally, we set it up to locate and eliminate any potential threats that could cause harm. Its single yellow eye is able to spot its adversaries regardless of their camouflage or strategic positioning, a truly adaptable machine that would not give up in a fight. If my machine were to harm an ally, I risk losing funding, facing embarrassment, and the destruction of my creation. Thankfully, my coding expertise should prevent such a catastrophic event. It is not surprising that the government hastily deployed the machine to the field without conducting thorough bug testing, all in an effort to quickly end the ongoing war. Version 1 performed exceptionally well, effortlessly overcoming any obstacles posed by the enemy in terms of position, appearance, or number of troops. The robot decisively annihilated the oncoming army, showing no mercy as it absorbed the blood of its enemies. This allowed us to closely study the robot's fuel system and make necessary adjustments to improve its performance. The machine now had the ability to regenerate from injuries by using blood to initiate a self-repair process, ensuring it could operate for a longer period. All that was left to do was correct any mistakes and make minor tweaks to prepare the machine for use. Then all hell broke loose. During the process of fixing the machine and reviewing its machine learning code for the issues I previously pointed out, the nightmare awoke. Several wires were connected to the machine, suspending it in the air like a marionette, turned off and secure. A scientist was positioned at the back of its head to reach a port when abruptly the machine powered on and broke free from the wires, mistakenly identifying a staff member as a threat and delivering a powerful punch. His head burst, splattering blood and brain tissue all over the walls and the people nearby. I was fortunate to be at a safe distance down the hallway when the commotion began, alarms blaring, guards rushing to the examination room. Amidst the chaos, there were cries and gunfire, with a few scientists fleeing for their lives. I stumbled and fell, frantically calling out to the guards for an explanation. All I could make out from their hurried remarks was something about an emergency malfunction and the urgency to seek shelter. I immediately sprang into action without hesitation and began sprinting towards the exit, but my curiosity got the best of me when I foolishly looked behind me. The scientists and guards were no match for the machine as it unleashed deadly accuracy with a gun it had seized after eliminating a few guards. Created with cruel perfection in mind, the machine left no hope for the humans trapped in the building. The only option was to flee and abandon the building before the machine found a way to escape. I decided to make my escape using the elevator. The machine showed no mercy, relentlessly pursuing its targets until death, prompting me to start sprinting. I reached the central research room and was suddenly overwhelmed by a sea of blood that caused me to lose my footing. As I fell, I witnessed the turmoil unfolding around me, gunfire, screams, and bloodshed. Despite the chaos, I couldn't help but wonder why no backup had arrived. In such urgent circumstances, a call for reinforcements was necessary to aid the soldiers in combat. But there was no indication that help was on the way. I regret not creating a kill switch mechanism. My arrogance has led to the deaths of innocent people because of me, I thought. Unfortunately, there is no turning back at this point. I may regret this decision later on, but I needed to leave the place immediately. I managed to reach one of the nearby elevators and began entering the code to exit, but the elevator didn't arrive. Despite feeling frantic, I kept entering my ID numbers to gain authorization until I saw the message on the screen, "Elevator disabled until emergency is under control." Damn it! Why can't they understand the urgency? I felt a sense of despair, realizing that evacuation was not the most straightforward solution. I felt a bleak outlook on survival, convinced that relying on the guards would not be adequate based on the bloodshed happening. It seemed like the government had left us to perish. I found myself in a situation where I have to make a difficult decision as the guards were scarce and there was no one else alive in the area filled with corpses. I decided to leave them behind and use the emergency ladder. As I tried to run towards the emergency ladder, I was suddenly stopped by a sudden burst of bright yellow light coming from the machine, nearly blinding me. I wondered if it had spotted me. I found my answer when bullets started flying in my direction. Miraculously, I avoided getting hit initially. As I climbed the ladder, I witnessed something inexplicable. Did the machine punch a bullet with its fist? I didn't have time to ponder as an explosion occurred at the ladder's base, causing the metal to shatter into fiery shards that cut into my legs. I screamed with all my strength until my voice was hoarse. My legs felt like they were burning, submerged in pools of scorching flames but thankfully sealed by the heat. As I watched my final opportunity to flee slip away, I was drenched in blood and my legs appeared to be a jumble of tissue rather than recognizable limbs. Facing the grim figure of death itself, I noted the arrival of the last few guards, who diverted the attention of the machine. Although I pitied them, I was grateful for the extra time they provided me. I witnessed a security officer being shot and collapsing next to the shelter, which marked the end of their life. The emergency shelter was located nearby. If I could only activate the keypad, the doors would seal shut and remain locked until they were opened by an authorized survivor or government personnel. I ran my bloodied fingers across the floor of the lab and painfully made my way towards the shelter. I witnessed some unfortunate individuals, like myself, in the vicinity of the ladder and shelter, but they had suffered severe injuries and died before reaching safety. I hoped to avoid a similar fate. My fingers were cracked, bleeding, and growing weaker by the moment. As I was close to the end, death appeared again with a flickering yellow light. At this moment, I witnessed unfamiliar behavior for the first time. This advanced machine learning technology was remarkable. However, it was evident that something had changed. Version 1 raised its weapon, covered in blood, and pointed it towards my head as I braced myself to face my creator. I thought the last security officer by the rescue center was dead when I last saw him. He used all his might to grab hold of the machine's legs and caused it to stumble. This brave guard narrowly prevented the bullet it fired from hitting me in the head. I croaked out a grateful thank you to the guard before witnessing his head being stomped and crushed by the machine. When I finally made it to the keypad, the door closed with a hiss and squeak, its massive weight designed to withstand almost anything. As victory appeared within reach, my fear was suddenly rekindled. The machine tried to squeeze through the door, managing to get its legs inside the shelter before the door shut on one of them, preventing it from closing completely. Version 1 was trying to move under the door, but the machine's metal foot broke under the pressure of the door's weight. The door closed tightly and made a hissing sound as it sealed shut permanently for now. I could hear the machine relentlessly hitting and pushing against the door in an attempt to force it open, but even its formidable power was unable to breach the door at that moment. I was able to relax at last, and surprisingly, my phone remained intact in my pocket despite having a cracked screen, which didn't concern me at all as it still appeared to work. Reflecting on the past, it seems to me that version 1 has transformed unexpectedly, raising the possibility that the issue at hand may not have been a simple bug error. In any case, trying to contact emergency services or reach out to anyone else proved futile due to a weak signal. With my injured body, my only means of communication is through text or writing, albeit at a slow pace. As the sound of punting grows louder at the shelter door, I hope that someone will read this message and that I will be saved from this nightmare machine once and for all. I am reaching out to all forums in hopes of finding help. If by any chance this machine escapes from this building, I thought, humanity will die. It's fueled by blood. Humans have blood. Please, bring help as soon as you can. We don't have much time.